Yo, what's up, guys? So this one is called Dating in the Industry. Okay, so I'm canceling my dating series. It was a flop. Um, I realized that, and so someone suggested, why don't you, because I said I'm like, people would rather make it than find love. Industry people, like I know what my channel's about. It's about industry shit. So I just realized like I took a super hard turn and people don't give a fuck about that. They want to make it. They don't give a fuck about love. A lot of people are like, I'm not even dating, bro. I want to make it. And someone gave me the idea. They said, why don't you combine those? Dating in the industry. I'm like, that is fucking, I've never seen that video. Let's do that one. That sounds fun and funny. So I'm gonna do that video instead. So let's go. So yeah, I mean, that's an interesting concept because dating in the industry is different than dating out in the wild, like in a normal setting. It's different, you know. Like what's the number one thing at the top? And why am I talking about dating, by the way? It's because my homeboy is dating a lot, and I'm talking to him like 3 times a week. I'm all set with my lady. Like don't trip. I'm all set with my lady. I'm not looking to like cheat on her or any kind of bullshit like that. Okay, let me lay that. Um, but I think this is an interesting conversation. Dating in the industry, what is that like? Because I've done it, and so I think it's an interesting conversation. Um, so the very first thing to realize dating in the industry, in my opinion, is that there's several things, but the number one thing, first of all, is you're in a pool of people who are a shit ton of narcissists. And I know people are like, oh, how dare you? I'm an artist. Okay, well okay, well check it out. You're an artist who wants millions of people to adore you. Okay, like so that's a thing. That's not pretty out there in the world. That's not common to want millions of people to adore you and all this kind of shit. I'm no, I'm just a screenwriter who I write stuff that you want millions of people to fucking love and be like, this is like, like that changed my life. you know, like, directors, actors, whatever, like, and, be on award shows and win an award and say, oh my God, let me thank people like, and be adored and this kind of shit and be like, and actresses or whatever, because I'm a dude. So actors, actresses, like, I didn't even write any of this shit. However, let me start getting into politics and tell everybody how to live. What? You're not a narcissist? Yes, you are. Okay? Let's move past that. It's okay. Let's move past that. It's fine, guys. All right? Like if you're in the arts like that, it's just what it is, man. We just have that, whatever it is. We have that DNA in us where we want our stuff to be big, That's fine. Who cares? Who gives a shit? But it is a different obstacle in dating, which I find interesting. So let's go to the next step of it, which is dating in Hollywood, dating in the industry is the first thing people are going to think is like, do they want something from me? What do they want from me? Are they trying to use me in some way? You know, which doesn't, like that's a main thing in Hollywood that is different from the outside world where you just go out and you're like, you see a pretty lady that you think looks attractive and you ask her out, hey, would you like to go have drinks? My name's Jason, da da da. You know, that's different. In the industry, the first thing a woman's gonna think is, what's this guy trying to get from me? Career-wise, you know? And it's all different from every single watch. From agent to director to you know, through the whole thing, agent, director, producer, executive, uh, director, did I say, writer, you know, but in different ways though, you know, which I find fucking hilarious. I think this video is gonna be funny, man. I think it's funny when I think about it. I forget who suggested it, but when the second they said it, I'm like, that could be a fucking hilarious video. Let's talk about it. So anyway, so from an agent, right? You ask an agent out. Let's say from the standpoint of as a writer, right? As a writer, you ask an agent out. Their first thought is like, even if I go out with you, I'm not gonna sign you, bro. No. Is that your angle? You know, what's your angle? You're like, no, I just think I think you're just cute, beautiful, like you seem fun. I'm just asking you out on a date. They're like, all right. You're like, I'm already signed. Like that, no, like that's not why I'm asking you out. You know, or what else? Like producer, you know, you ask them out. Hey, you know, you want to grab drinks sometime? You know, wait a minute. Even if we date, I'm not gonna just attach to your shit for no reason. I know, I already have a producer on that. That's not why I'm asking you out. Okay? What else? Showrunner, same shit. Even if I go out with you, I'm not gonna like attach to your show. You're like, I already have a showrunner on it. I already have a showrunner. That's not why. I just think you're cute. That's it. Like, you seem fun. Like that's completely it. Okay? But they're like, I'm skeptical. You know, whatever else. Producer. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna just you get it. You know what I'm saying? So there is that obstacle up front that a lot of people are thinking like, what are you trying to get from me? Like they don't necessarily straight out believe you that you're not trying to executive. I'm not gonna green light your shit, dude. Even if we start dating, that doesn't mean I'm gonna green light you. Okay? And you're like, I already have it's already set up. You know, don't read it. I didn't ask you to read anything. You know, there is that difference in the industry in dating that doesn't exist in other, you know, in a normal situation, you know, which I find funny. So now let's go through what is it like to date each different thing? Because I've done it, man. So what is it like to date an agent versus a director, executive, producer, what am I forgetting? Writer. Let's go through it because it's kind of funny, I think, because they're all different. You know what I mean? They're all in the industry, but it's all different. You know, you date an agent. What are agents like? Agents tend to be very pensive, very stiff. You know, like okay, you know, they're like very like, you know, this kind of shit. You're out on a date with them. Probably someone's going to come up to them at some point, see them out. You know, like you're out on a date. Probably someone's going to be like, oh hey, you know, they see you there, them there. Hey, what's going on with that project? Type of thing. Like interrupt. You know, like push you out of the way. Like anyway, yeah, not even talk to you. So right, this is Hollywood, dude. So yeah, what's up with that project? Like, what's going on with that? And the agent's like, yeah, I'm dealing with them. I'm gonna get to them on Monday, but possibly like I'm thinking like maybe them or them too. You know, I'm gonna reach out to them. Blah 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 blah. And you're like, the food's getting cold. Like, okay, you know, like what's up? You know, and so then they finish that shit up, and they're like, give me like 2 seconds, like just 3 emails, just real quick. You know, hold on, because they just talked to someone and they're like, and shoot some shit off, and they're like, okay, I'm back. You know, you're like, hello, you know, they're like, I'm back, I'm back. Okay, sorry about that. You know, I'm back. Okay, so what were you saying? You know, then you know, then they're like, they look at their phone, they're like, give me like 5 minutes, okay? I gotta take this call. Boop, I'll be right back. They jump outside, you're like, you know, that's what it's like to date an agent. they're always on the fucking phone and everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun. I think it's funny. And now let's go to sex with that, right? Sex with an agent. What's that? What's that like? You know, sex with an agent. You know, you're having sex. I'm only going to rate it like PG-13, not R, not X. Okay. You're having sex with an agent. They're like their eyes are all up on the ceiling. You're having sex. You're like, what? Like, hello? Like, I'm here. Like, do you see me? You know? And they're like, oh, what? Yeah, no, of course. You know? And you're like, are you like, are you thinking about that deal? And they're like, oh, what? No, 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 no. And you're like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Um, and they're like, no, no, I'm present. No, I'm here. I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm right here. I see you. There you are. Um, and then watch when their phone be having sex with the agent, and then their phone the agent's gonna be like this. Um, Real quick, just let me hold on. Just what's up? Yeah. Okay. So I'll be right back. So yeah. So you know, that's what it's like to date an agent. All right. They're always fucking on the phone, busy, all this kind of shit. You know, and it's funny that I try to get away from that with and be with my lady, but now she's a boss too. Now she's always on the fucking phone too. Um, and I kind of push her into that, like, go, like, be a big shot, you know, like, you can do it, be the boss, fuck yeah. Um, anyway, so I guess I just like fucking, I guess I'm just attracted to women who are, and I don't want no other girl. My lady's my lady. That's it. Period. But women who are go-getters. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not fucking offended by that, or like it doesn't demote me as a man or any bullshit like this. Anyway, let's go to what next? Let's go to what actresses. Okay. Dating actresses, what is that like? um the first thing they're gonna think, probably, like, if they're out there, the first thing they're gonna think is, wait a minute, are you trying to date me because you think I'm famous? And you're like, I don't know who the fuck you are. You know what I mean? That's not why I asked you out. I asked you out because you look interesting, and I liked your smile, and I like the way you carry yourself and your energy and this kind of stuff. Oh, you're an actress? I didn't even know that. You know, and you're like, oh, by the way, what show are you on? And they're like, I'm on this, series regular on this. You're like, okay, I'm like, that's not that famous though. Like, chill out. But so then actresses are kind of like all over the place. You know what I mean? They're very passionate, and they're very sort of. But that's the other thing, though. They're very dramatic, very, and I'm gonna rate them too, because let's have fun with this. Don't take this shit too seriously. It's just for fun and games, right? I'm gonna rate them. Like, which ones would I say to choose as the best, like, dates and shit. Agents, pretty low. Like, they're very stiff and kind of just always like pragmatic and this kind of shit. Like, not pragmatic, more stiff. Just always in agent mode, always in kill mode. You know what I mean? Like, deal, deal, deal. Um, Actresses, totally different. Like very dramatic. Oh my god, and but you go out on a date with them, and it's they're very exciting. I'll say actresses are very, like, intriguing. They have a lot of stuff to say they've had, like, dramatic lives and this kind of stuff. Very, very, like, good conversationalists and this kind of thing. Totally different than agents. And however, in sex, like, you're having sex with an actress, um, and dating them too is like if you're not like a power couple, you're gonna be in a dynamic sort of battle with them. And like you, like as a writer, I want to be the star, dude. And they're like, as an actress, I want to be the star. And you know, they're gonna be like, I have an audition for a series regular on whatever, and you're like, oh, is that right? Well, guess what? I just went wide with my script, my pilot, my show. So if you play your cards right, I might have a role for you. Okay? Let's be realistic, man. Um, so it's a different dynamic than other dating. It is, and which I find fucking funny. But then if you're having sex with an actress, then you're gonna be having sex with the actress and you're all into it and stuff, and you're like, oh my god. And then you're gonna hit a moment where you see her like look over like this, like flip her hair or something like that, and you're like, wait a minute, are you picturing a camera right here? Is this real? Are you acting right now? And she's like, oh no, I'm into you. No, I'm super into you. And you're like, I don't know, man, because this could be acting. I don't fucking like. Are you into me? Like, is this real or is this kind of like rehearsal? You know? And she's like, oh no, this is real. Yeah, I'm into you. Like, don't trip. You know? You're like, okay, just checking. You know? Because you look like you're looking like, where is the camera? Okay? Plus, hey, what role are you up for next? By the way, I'm just curious. Does it involve this kind of shit? Just checking. You know? She's like, no, like I fight off a shark or some shit. You know? You're like, okay, cool. So you're like, there was no like, you know, method acting in this. And she's like, no. I mean, a little bit, but not that much. You know, you're like, you know, so don't take this shit too seriously. It's just jokes, man. But it's kind of true. So, you know, she's like, I wanted to kind of see if I could like, did you buy it? You know, you're like, yeah, I did actually. So good job. So actresses, so that, and they're very dramatic and they're up and down and it's gonna be fucking crazy. You know, they're the ones that are gonna be like, you're like, why is like, you know, you break up with them and you're like, how did you get my house? Like, what the fuck? And they're like, you still love me, you just don't know it. You're like, no, I like honestly, like you're trespassing. Like, why are you in my bed naked? You know? And they're like, listen, just fuck me. And you're like, no, like, no. That's actresses. You're like, bro, like, but they're also the ones that are like, I need to check with my publicist to see if I can like be in public with you. You're like, what? Like, the fuck? And they're like, just drive around the back, park back there and climb the wall. Honestly, you want me to climb the fucking wall? Seriously? For now. Okay? Like, you know, this is real shit, man. I'm not saying who any of these women are. What's next? Director. Director. So I'd rate actresses pretty high as far as like sexual energy and all fun, all that. Agents pretty low. And then going to directors, you know, same shit. You go out to dinner, right? You're with the director, you know, chick, and you're like, okay, cool. She's cute. Like, I like her vibe. I like her energy, all this. And you're talking to her and she's kind of like looking around and you're like, what the fuck? What are you looking at? You know? And she's like, oh, what? Oh, nothing. You're like, wait a minute. Are you location scouting right now? Is that what's going on? She's like, I mean, this would be a dope place to shoot my next movie in. Like this would be perfect, you know? That's what you're doing. Like you're. So when I saw you look over that way, you're thinking about how the camera could come through. You're thinking about like the dolly track could go right here and this and that. She's like, I mean, a little bit, like a little bit. You see where I'm going with this shit? Like, you date people in the industry, and that's almost 100% of what your conversation is going to be all the fucking time. And they're always thinking about it. What's the next move? What's the next move? What's the next move? You know. And then. Okay, cool. Now you're having sex with the director, and you're like, okay, cool. Do 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 do. And similar to the agent, their eyes are like wandering the ceiling, and you're like, what are you looking at? You know, are you thinking of what the camera shot could be if this was a scene? Is that what the fuck's going on? And they're like, I mean, like a little bit, like because are you thinking about your gel pack, like what gel pack you would use right now to shoot this? Is that what's going on? And they're like, I mean, I can't say I'm not, like, like they're, like, I'm just making jokes, man. It's just fun and games. So there's directors. What else? Let's go into executives. Executives, I'm gonna rate very high. Okay? And I think probably a lot of executives are Scorpios. That'd be my guess. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, whatever. But executives, they have their hair all up, very skeptical. Very skeptical of you. And, go out with some executives, man. You'll see. Executives are freaks, bro. So what is that like? So dating an executive, executives they're very particular. They're very like particular on shit, and they're the ones that are gonna be like, like you take them out to dinner. They're like, how's the dish prepared? You know what I mean? Like, well, this that. Okay, cool. I mean, but like, how many seeds are on it? I heard that poppy seeds on it, like toasted. Like, at what temperature? Like, does it matter? Like, who cares? And how many seeds are there? Are we talking like 20, 30, 50? Like, I need to know this shit. This is executives. And they're used to saying, no, 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 no. That's what they do all day. No, 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 no. And then you ask them on a date, like, you're like, hey, you seem like a cool chick. Like, I thought maybe we could grab a drink. What do you think? And they're like, no. Oh, no, sorry. I'm so used to saying no. I meant consider. That's what I meant. Yeah, I would consider it. Okay, cool. So consider it and let me know. And so yeah, so then you go out with her and there's your date. And then what's sex like with executives? Their hair's all up. They have their glasses on. They're like, bosses like, no, 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 no. And then you're having sex and shit, and the hair's down, and they're wild, man. Wait, what happened? Who the fuck are you? They're the ones that are like scratching your back, like, take me. You're like, my back is bleeding, dude. What the fuck? And you're making out with them, and they bite your lip. You're like, holy shit, dude, my lip is bloody, dude. What the fuck? And they're like, so what? Like, take it like a man, bro. Like, they're the ones that will pin you up against the wall. You know what I mean? You're like, holy shit. Like, all right, like, I think let's switch and I'll pin you up against the wall. And they're the ones that are pulling your hair and shit. You're like, holy moly. Okay. And they're like, pull my hair. Why are you being a little bitch, man? Pull my hair. Be a man, and the correct way, which is reach your hand up this way. And, anyway, so, and these are the chicks that are like intense, man. Like the executives, those are the chicks that are intense. And I'll rate executives, I'll rate you the highest for sure. Yeah, they're the ones that are gonna have, like, they're the ones that are gonna go the most crazy and behind closed doors, just let go. You know what I mean? Um, and 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 they're the one. By the way, they're the ones that are looking you directly in the eyes. They're not all off over here. They're focused. You know, they're like, let's go. You know what I mean? Um, they know what they're doing. And so, yeah, you'll have a great time with executives. And um, and so, and at the end of it, and they, if their phone rings, they're gonna be like, I don't give a fuck, you, you know. Um, and at the end of it, they're gonna be like, um, they're gonna be like, okay, like cool, like like I had a good time, whatever. And then they're gonna be like, but I'm still not gonna read your script though. Okay, so don't think I'm reading your script just because of that. You know, and you're like, it's cool, don't worry about it. Um, and yeah, executives are the freakiest. Um, where are we going now? Writers. So writers. Is that the last one? I went through agent. Oh, let me go to producers first. Producers are like, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. So there's so many problems. They're generally like, have anxiety and like, I have so many fucking problems that I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to put out all these fires. Like, what did you say? Like, hold on. Like, there's so many problems, but it's kind of similar to agents in the sense that you probably, if you're out with them, there's probably someone who's going to come up to them and be like, hey, like that thing, like what's going on with that? Like this is going to happen a lot. Like, oh, what's going on with that? And they're like, oh, I'm out with and I'm trying to put these pieces together and do. And they're kind of all over the place, problems, oh God, like, I hope I fucking pull this shit off. Um, you know, and in bed, it's kind of like I would say they're more like pragmatic, you know, um, where like maybe like you should lay like this, or if you lay like that, then I could lay like this, and then we could do it like that, and then it's very pragmatic. I don't take this shit too seriously. I'm just being generalizing, just trying to be funny, man. I know I'm not that funny, but this is the way I see it in a general sense. And then you're like, lay like this, and they're like, no, more like over like that, and then come around like this way. You're like, okay. So that's producers. You go to a hotel room or whatever. They're very like, is it? Do we have? Is the view like of the like full beach, or like partial, or like what are we talking about? Like we got half the beach, like the full beach, like what is that? Like, well, it's like that. Like, and they're like, how big is the balcony? Like, is it like 3 feet or 3.5 feet? Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, they're very like this kind of shit. Um, and it's true, man. Like, people choose different, like, everybody has like a different role in the industry and has a different strength, right? So that's the way they're gonna lead their relationships. You know what I mean? Writers. So writers. Let's get to you guys. So writers. I would put producers. Sorry, I would put producers a little lower. I would say agents. Agents here. Actresses here. Here's where we're at. Agents, actresses, executives, producers, maybe kind of tied with agents, and then let's go to writers. So writers, you ask a writer out, you go out with the writer, and they talk a lot. You know what I mean? And so you're like, okay, and you go out on a date with them, and they have a lot to say, and and it's a lot of what they're going to talk about is about my project, this and that, and so that tell you their whole fucking like movie or whatever, do 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 do, like okay, I get it, man, like fine, like I get it. Do you think about anything other than movies? They're like, not really. No, I don't. That's writers. And so then you're like, okay, so let's go like to the Grove or something, and then you're at the Grove and you're just like cruising around, like let's get some, like, I don't know, let's grab some like fruit, and or whatever, and like maybe grab a beer and see the band, or whatever. And they're like, yeah, sure, and you're walking with this chick. She's cool, she's interesting. She has a fucking like really like crazy backstory that you've asked her about, and you're like, this chick is like interesting, very cool. Um, and so then you're walking around the Grove, and you see her kind of like this, like, and you're like, wait, hang on a minute. Like, are you typing right now? Like, she's like, what? No. Like, I just sent a text to my friend. That's what I just sent a text real quick to my friend. And you're like, I don't buy that. Let me see your phone. She's like, why? May I see it, please? And finally she's like, you're like, give it to me, and you're like, pull it up, and you're like, you just wrote down all the shit I just said right there. What the fuck? What the fuck? You just wrote down word for word what the fuck I said. And she's like, because it was a good line though. It was a good line. I didn't want to lose it because it was a good line. I didn't want to lose it. That's all. And you're like, are we on a date? Are you focusing on me? Are you thinking about, are you writing while we're walking? Like, what the fuck? And she's like, I mean, if it's a good line, I gotta save it. And so you're like, okay, that's fine. And then so she's then you're like, let me read it back and let me see. And oh, you wrote down our whole conversation this whole fucking time. Okay, let me read this shit. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. No, like no, I think the guy I think he would be more like this, for the movie's sake or TV show, whatever. I think he'd be more like that and tell her this, and then she says this, and then that happens, and then that happens. I think you're missing a beat right there. It's just like, you might be right. What if he, like, what if she's like does this and does that and he does that and then she does that? What do you think of that? And you're in the middle of the fucking Grove and you're like, what am I doing? Like, are we developing right here? Like, what the fuck? But she sucked you in, and now you're like trying to help like fix this, and you're like, yeah, I think that would work. I think that would work. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Except for, let me see this. Let me read it. But that one word, I think it should be that word, And she's like, yeah, I think you're right. Or it could be this word. What do you think of this? It's that. And you're like, yeah, that's way better. That's it. And you're like, wait a minute. Why am I developing right now? And so boom, then you figure that shit out. Okay, so now you're having sex, right? Now you're having sex with this writer girl, and she's like talking like a lot, you know what I mean? And you're just like, do you ever stop talking? Like you're thinking this, and she's like, do you think I'm talking too much, like during sex? And you're like, I mean, like a little bit, like, but she's like, but you said you like dirty talk and shit like this, so what's the problem? You're just like, it's not, it's not that. It's just like you don't take a breath. That's really what it is. You don't take a breath. Take a breath, like, okay, and then everything's cool. And she's like, oh, okay, 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 okay. And so whatever. So boom, 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 and you know you have a good time with her. So I'll rate the writer like pretty high. You know. But below the executives on top. I'm telling you, executive, writer, um, director, producer, then agent. That's that's my list from top to bottom. How it works, like the most attractive, at least to me. You know, the most fun out there dating and shit like that. There we go. Um, so I have a couple notes on there. You know what? I'll skip that shit. I think I'm done with the video. There's a few more things I could say, but who cares? So that's my video. That's how I would rate dating out there with people in the industry, and it becomes different. It's different from the outset, and it's also different from the aspect of you know if you're dating people in the industry, your normal friends, the non-pros. Does anybody know that? That's an old term. That means non-pro just means like not in the industry. When the first time I heard that, I'm like, non-pro. Like I heard someone say like, are they a pro or non-pro? And I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about? And they're like, no, they're a non-pro. They're a brain surgeon. I'm like, excuse me? And they're like, I'm like, and they're like, it just means they're not industry. That's all it means. Not that they're not successful. So I'm like, okay, gotcha. But so that's the way I see dating in the industry. And I forgot this. Let me say this. Actresses, if you're dating it, I know this is controversial. I don't care. It's all fun and games. It's jokes. Like whatever. The moment you get with an actress and you ask her like to go out with, like to be your girlfriend or whatever like this, and she says yes, her first thought is for now. The second Ryan Gosling asks me out, I'm out of here, bro. Okay? So know that if you date actresses. All right? It's just how it works, which is fine, man. So anything else I wanna say? What I have here? Yeah. So I'll kind of end on that. And one thing I would say is like, if you're dating in the industry, bragging will come up with your friends who are non-pros, who are not in the industry, where you're gonna realize like if you're not in the industry and you're like, I want to be in, there's nothing wrong with that. I want to be in the industry and I want to be like a power couple, and that's your dream. There's nothing wrong with having that dream. I'm not shitting on that. Like, cool, have that dream, but you're gonna reach a point where your friends who are not in the industry, you start saying shit like, they're like, what'd you do? What, hey, how'd your weekend go? And you're like, yeah, it was cool, man. And they're like, oh, what'd you do? And you're like, I went to Alanis Morissette's party, and they're gonna be like, excuse me? Like, you met her. And you're like, she opened the door and said, hello. I shook her hand and she said, come in. And then showed me her house and shit. And then I played bongos and smoked some weed. Like, so yeah. And they're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, okay. All right. I have my eye on you. I don't know if I believe you. And you're like, that's what happened, dude. Like, and then And then like the next weekend they're like, yeah, so how was the weekend? What'd you do? You're like, I went to this other party. I went to like, and you're starting to pick up on it. Like you're like, you know what? Who cares? They're like, no, go ahead, tell me. I went, whatever. I went to this party, my homeboy's house. Madonna was there and shit, and like fucking. They're like, what? What'd you say? Like, Madonna was there at his house party? Yeah, sorta. They're like, word. Okay, like, but you're like, but whatever, man. Like, what did you do? And they're like, I just took the kids out and rode bikes around the park and shit. And you're like, no, that's cool, man. Like, fuck yeah. Was it sunny? Like, you're trying to find anything good to say about it. Like, nice. The temperature was like nice and everything. Like, trees and everything. Like, you guys had a good time. Like, because you're not trying to upstage them, but they feel like you're trying to upstage them, but you're not. You're just like, that's just what the fuck I did, you know. And then you're like, and then another weekend, hey, how was your weekend, bro? And you're like, how was your weekend? As a matter of fact, what like, don't worry about my weekend. Let's not go there. How was your weekend? And they're like, yeah, it was good. We went to the beach, and the kids like built sand castles and shit. And you're like, that's awesome, man. Fuck yeah, cool, man. And and then they're like, what'd you do? And you're like, does it really matter? It doesn't really matter. Like, um, whatever. Yeah, sandcastles, man. I used to love building sandcastles when I was a kid. And they're like, no, what'd you do though? Like, tell me. And you're like, I went to the Golden Globes party with Christina Aguilera. And like, what did you say? Did you say you went to the Golden Globes party with Christina Aguilera? Is that what the fuck you said? Did I say that? Yeah. I guess I did say that. Yeah. So that's what I did. But whatever. Like. So anyway, like, you know, and at this point, people are feeling like you're bragging, and you're not. You're just like, this is the lifestyle I'm in now. You know. Let me end with this. So understand that is going to happen. You want to do this lifestyle, that's going to happen. If you have friends who are not in the industry and you're coming up in the industry to some degree, and you're dating these types of people, men or women, whatever your thing is, that's going to your regular friends, that's going to happen. Where at first they don't believe you, and then they're going to think you're bragging. You know. Here's the thing. Speaking of dating, I'll end with this. So I was I was at my doctor's office. I leave. I've told this story before, but not in this way. And this has to do with dating. So I'm at my doctor's office, right? And I leave and I go to get on the elevator, and the doors are closing, and I'm like, oh, and I try to hit the door, and the door's closing, and the woman in there is like, oh, I'm trying to open it. Sorry. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I pressed the wrong button. And I'm like, don't worry about it. The door's closed. So I'm like, okay. So I press the button, and boop, it opens back up. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was trying to hit the open button, and I said, don't worry about it. Like, I get it. Like you're just like, you don't know which button is, like open, close, like, so I said, don't worry about it. But I said, thank you for trying to, hold the door for me. And so anyway, so I'm like, how's your day going? She's like, oh, it's going good. Like, just, taking the kid to the doctor. I'm like, that sucks. Yeah, something's going around, or whatever I said, small talk. You know what I mean? And so then and I'm on the phone. I'm like, I have a meeting, and I'm like, I'll be there in like 5 minutes. I'm around the corner. I'm going to Nate Now's, to meet with Sherry. Or no, 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 no. That was the next day. This was a different meeting. So anyway, um, so I'm like, whatever. I'll be there in like 5, 10 minutes, and I'm like, and I'm single at this time, and I'm like, should I ask this girl? Like, I'm talking to this like a bit, I'm on my phone looking at her. I'm like, and at that point, I'm like out in the world, and I'm asking girls out in the world, just like, hey, like I see you, and whatever, you know. Um, my name's Jason. Small talk. Would you, can I get your number? Maybe we can grab drinks sometime. This kind of shit, like super easy. Like you want my tip on how to do it? That's how. Just super easy, super chill. Just like introduce yourself. My name's this. Um, you know, maybe we can grab drinks sometime. Can I grab your number? Quick in and out type of thing. Um, and anyway, so I'm thinking about asking her out. I'm looking at her, and I'm like, but elevator's dropping, but I see her kid, and I'm like, that kid looks so familiar to me. Why? And I just keep looking at the kid. I'm like, that kid looks so familiar. Why? And so boom, ding, like the door opens, and I don't ask her out. Uh, and I was right about to ask this girl out because I see her. She's cute. She's in, excuse me, she's in mom zone, like hoodie on and stuff. But I like her. She has a nice smile and stuff like this. And so I'm like, anyway, have a nice day. She's like, yeah, you too. So I step out of the elevator, and I'm like, Gavin Rosdale. That's who the fuck that kid looks like. Gavin Rosdale. And then I'm like, that was Gwen Stefani. What? I almost asked out Gwen Stefani. What the fuck? You know? And so I'm like, okay, and so it's interesting looking back, like, what would she have said? She probably would have said, who knows, but she probably would have said, I'm married. Like, oh, I'm married. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no problem. And I didn't know who the fuck it was because she didn't look like Gwen Stefani. So I would have been like, okay, like, oh, no problem. Have a great day. You know what I mean? Like, oh, your guy is like a super lucky dude, and then just bounce. Um, who knows what she would have said? I don't know, man. Like, let's go there. Would she say like, do you know who I am? If she said that, I'd be like, I don't know. Like, are you famous or something? Like, I don't know, And then I would have seen it once she said that. Like, it would click. Like, wait a minute, look closer. You know, I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, I know who you are. I know who you are. Yeah, you're Gwen Stefani, right? And would that have changed anything? I don't know. Like for me, would that have changed anything? I have no idea. I wouldn't, at that point, I wouldn't have taken it back. I already asked you out, so there you go. It is what it is. Yes or no. You know what I mean? Like in that scenario, I would imagine she would probably say no, because you need to be equally yoked, and she doesn't know who the fuck I am. But whatever. But let me say that too. Is dating in the industry was it it hurt. I'm gonna end with this. You know, my there's no other way to say it. Like the fact that I was with my ex, that both hurt me and helped me because dating in the industry, a lot of women knew her or at least of her and didn't want to be seen as the homewrecker. So that's another component in the industry, dating in the industry. You know, a lot of women were like, I know who that is. I know who your ex is, but I don't want to be seen as like the person who, even though I believe you that like, and I'm like, we're not together. Like she knows, all this. Um, Even though they believe me, they still don't want to be seen. And I can totally, back then, I totally understood why they, like wanted to keep things like on the DL. So, I'm not naming anybody's names in this. You know what I mean? I knew why they wanted to keep it on the DL because they didn't want to look like a homewrecker. You know, so that hurt me dating in the industry. But the fact that I was married to an agent helped me in the sense that they probably knew, I think, that you know how this works and you're not starstruck at this point and all of that. And I'm like, I'm not starstruck. Like, if I ask you out, that's not why. I'm not trying to get something from you. I'm only going to ask you out because I'm interested in you. You know what I mean? So I think that part made them feel kind of safer, like that I'm not some guy off the street that like is trying to get a script out there. Like I don't need that from you. So it was a double-edged sword in that way. But let me end right there. So dating in the industry is very different. It's very different than dating out in mainstream culture. There's a lot of different layers to it that aren't, you know, like that aren't a part of dating in that world. I'll shut up right now. So there we go. So that's my thoughts on dating in the industry. If you want to do that, fuck yeah, man. Like you can have an amazing time and meet amazing people. There's plenty of amazing people in the industry. They're all narcissists, I'll tell you that much. But there's plenty of amazing people that are a lot of fun and who like to have a good time. You know what I mean? So have a blast out there dating in the industry, and you know, I wouldn't not recommend it. So have a blast. Be blessed, guys. Happy 2025 coming up. I hope this new year is amazing for everybody who looks at my channel, who bothers to. All the love, guys. Much love. I'll see you soon. Peace.